Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, John Haynes, A Conversation with Death. The man who rules the world and the angel of darkness take on a horde of demons in this inaugural John Haynes series adventure. Get John Haynes, A Conversation with Death for 99 cents on Kindle or in paperback today. When it comes down to racists and white supremacists, many Americans just don't know how to fight racists and white supremacists when they see them. Now, what many people need to understand about racists and white supremacists is that there's a mental health component to these racists and white supremacists. And once you understand the mental health component, then you can easily defeat a racist and white supremacist without ever saying a single word to them. Now, when it comes down to this racist or this white supremacist, you have to understand that this is a codependent individual. Now, codependency is a mental health issue where an individual needs to have power over another person. And in order for a codependent relationship to form between two people, you have to have two people. One is the victim, and this is the person who the abuser targets, because the abuser is the second person. You have to have the victim and you have to have the abuser. And the abuser, what he does is he makes statements and takes actions in the hopes of getting an emotional response out of a person. And over time, what they do is they wear people down to the point where they have this victim abuser relationship, and then they have this cat and mouse game where they keep playing the victim and the abuser cycle. And what they do is the white person who is a racist or a white supremacist, they will go out here and make a racist statement, or they will go out here and do something to get the attention of a black person or a non-racist white person or non-black person. And what they want you to do is react to their statement or their actions in the hopes of getting attention for themselves. And once they get your attention through their reaction, this is how these racist and white supremacists get their power over people. Because that's what codependent people like to do. What they want to do is get that reaction because they get their power from getting people to react to them. So whenever a racist or a white supremacist sees a group of black people coming to argue with them, or see white people or non-black people coming to argue with them, that white supremacist is smiling because they know they have power over those people. And they know they have power over those people because they can get those people to emotionally react to them. But the way you take power away from a white supremacist or a racist is by responding to them. Now, there's a difference between a reaction and a response. A reaction is something people do on an emotional level. A response is something that someone does when they're calm and thinking critically. And the way you defeat a racist is to remain calm and to keep thinking critically. Because once you start critical thinking, you start to realize that this racist or this white supremacist, this person has no power, and what they want to do is take your power away. Because that's what codependent people want to do. Codependent abusers, what they want to do is take your power away and give it to them. And the only way they can get your power is if you give it to them. This is something a lot of black people don't understand because they get emotionally caught up in racism. But you have to understand that this racist, they are powerless. And they are so powerless that they want to take your power away. Because whenever these racists see a black person who is doing better than they are, which is doing things like going to school or working at a job, this is when they get uncomfortable because they feel powerless about their position in life. And examples of this are like that Dylan Roof shooting at that church. Your Dylan Roof felt completely powerless because he saw this girl that he said that he liked going out here and having a relationship with a black man. And because this girl was having a relationship with a black man, this was his motivation to go out here and go murder all those people at that church. And that showed how weak a man he was, because instead of him going out here and saying that I will go out here and work on improving myself, what this guy does is he goes out to go take out a gun to murder all these people who are completely defenseless in that church, because he feels powerless as a person, and his way of taking his power back is by destroying the lives of those who cannot fight him back. And this is what makes the racist a very weak person, is because many of your racist and white supremacists, they have all this tough talk and they have all that rhetoric and all that anger, but deep down inside, these are some of the biggest cowards in the room. And the reason why they are cowards is because when it comes down to your racist and your white supremacists, they are the ones out here pointing a finger at someone else, like a black person, a Mexican, an Arab, or whoever they project their anger on. But these people will never make an effort to go out here and make efforts to improve themselves. And when they see others improving themselves who they believe are beneath them, what they will do is try to destroy those people, because those people refute many of the narratives and ideas they were taught by their mothers. And when they see someone being a living, proven point that refutes their argument, what that does, it makes them uncomfortable, it makes them feel inadequate, and it makes them realize that they have to take a look in the mirror at themselves. And that's something your racist doesn't want, because your racist wants to continue believing the lie that white people are superior, white people are better, white people are the top of the food chain, and in actuality, he is at the bottom of the world, and he doesn't want to take a look at himself in that position, because he believes that he deserves to be at a higher position. And in order for him to remain at that higher position he has imagined himself to be, he needs to destroy the lives of others. And this is why your racists went out here to lynch all those black men during the era of Jim Crow. It's because many of these white men could not deal with the fact that this black man was rising higher than he was, this black man was doing better than he was, and this white man never wanted to make an effort to improve himself, because if he had to actually take that time to improve himself, that would mean that he would have to actually start rising to doing some work. And that's something many of your white racists don't want to do, because many of your white racists, like your beta males, believe that they don't have to work, they don't have to make any efforts to do anything, and that everything just needs to be there because they are white males. And this is something that many of your racists and your white supremacists believe. They believe that they are supposed to be supreme because they are born with white skin. But I'm sorry, the world doesn't work that way for anyone. Everyone out here has to go out here and make efforts to work, and that's something your racist and your white supremacist doesn't want to do. And because they don't want to do the hard work, they look for others to blame, and they look for others to bring down to their level of codependency. But most people need to understand how you defeat this racist and white supremacist is by the way you respond to them. You do not react to a racist like many of those Antifa people did in Charlottesville. You respond to a racist by completely ignoring them, because these people are far beneath you. They are at the bottom of the world, and their self-esteem is so low that they need these Confederate statues, they need these Confederate flags, they need these images of a world gone by over 100 years ago, and they need this fantasy of the old Southern tradition, because they don't have the courage or the confidence to go out here and build something of their own. Because to go out here and build something of their own means that they're going to actually have to work like everyone else. And when it comes down to the racist, again, like the beta male and the nice guy, they believe that they are entitled to have better than everyone else and that they don't have to work for anything like everyone else. They believe that because they are superior, they should just get something for being there, but that's not the way life works. And that's why people leave racists and white supremacists at the bottom of the world, because these people don't want to make any efforts to rise to a higher position. And that's what black people need to do when they see these racists and white supremacists, is leave them at the bottom of the world, because that's where they want to go, that's where they're going to be. And the best response to a racist or a white supremacist is no response if they're just out here marching and protesting. The best response anybody, black, white, non-black, can do is pay these people no attention. If they're not putting their hands on anyone, the best response is no response. And the best response after that is, once you find out this person is a racist or a white supremacist, to cut off all social interactions with them, because these people thrive on getting attention from others. These people thrive on getting people to pay attention to their racist antics, and these people thrive on getting attention from other people, and they need black, Hispanics, Arabs, whoever they're blaming to be there, because as long as those people are there, they can get power from those people, and they get their power from those people by going out of their way to make ways to get a reaction out of them. But the best reaction you can give them is no response, because the number of no responses they get shuts them down. And that's what people need to do if they hope to really fight these racists and these white supremacists. Because the more you engage them, the more power they get, and then more it reinforces the lie in their mind that they are superior. Because when it comes down to the racists and the white supremacists, that's how they get their feelings of superiority, by making others feel inferior. And the best way to make them feel inferior is by giving them absolutely no response to their actions to get you to react. Now, this no response approach can also have an impact in business situations as well. And when many black people out here and non-black people out here go shopping and they see things like racial profiling going on in a business, where black people are being followed around, or black people are asked for their ID with a credit card, or any sort of racial profiling going on, they can use the no response approach to shut these racists down as well. And the no response you can use is by keeping your money in your pocket, because when you go into that store and you don't spend any money, you send a message to that business that you are not going to tolerate racism and white supremacy, and that your money has more value than what is in their store. And that's another way you can have a no response impact. You don't need to go out here and march and protest against any of these businesses. All you have to do is walk out of that business and not spend any money. And that can have a powerful impact on that business, because you are sending a message by saying that you're not going to tolerate racism and white supremacy by not spending any money in that establishment. Because by you going into that establishment to spend money, you are sending a message to that racist or white supremacist that they can continue to have economic power, but you can take that power away from that racist by not spending any money at that business. And that's another way you can have an impact, by having no response, because it's your actions that are going to speak louder than their words. And the way you defeat a racist or a white supremacist is through action. And many people think no response is not action, but it is the most powerful action, because you are not allowing this person to have any power over you. You are not allowing this person to have any control over you. And you are saying that you are in control of yourself, and you are maintaining control over yourself, because you are navigating through your emotions, and you are saying that I am not going to allow this person to make me react. I am going to respond, and by me responding, what I'm doing is saying that I am maintaining my power, I am maintaining control over myself, and I am going to be the one who dictates this situation. This, with no response, is you taking the power away from this racist or this white supremacist and showing them that they have no power over you, because when you have power over yourself, no one can be your superior. You are the one who dictates who is the one in charge, and when you're in charge of yourself, you have taken all power away from this racist and this white supremacist, and you've done it in such a way that it has the most powerful impact. Because if large groups of people go out of their way to have no response to racist and white supremacists, and large groups of people don't spend their money with racists and white supremacists, it can have an impact overall, and it can send a far more powerful message to all those racists than any of their acts of terrorism. Because when people don't respond to these racist and white supremacists, they take their power back, and they make efforts to take their country back and make it the great country it can actually be. Part of fighting a racist and white supremacist and defeating a racist and a white supremacist is understanding that the only power they have is what you give them, and the way you take their power away is by saying that you are not going to let them dictate the terms of your life. You are going to dictate the terms of your life, and you are not going to let these people tell you how to live. You are going to live the way you want to live, and the way you're going to live your life is by responding to them in a way that lets them know that they are not going to be able to get your attention, and that the only way that they can get, the way you can keep people from having this type of power is by giving them attention, and the way you make them lose all their power is by not paying them a single moment of attention at all. If you'd like to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon by clicking the link in the description box. And if you want to see me read some of my SJS Direct publications, you may do so by clicking the link to Amazon.com. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.